Oh, shit. What's going on, Chris?
How's it
Oh,
going?
that's nice, guys. How are you?
Good,
Good,
man.
you?
Thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, no problem. I'm just hoping my Wi-Fi keeps up. It's shady out here.
Is it?
Shady, eh? Right on.
I'm tethering. I actually have to get a hotspot that I'm tethering off like a Netgear hotspot device, and then that's like our Wi-Fi here. Just because all the service providers, ever since the situation, have been overloaded because so many people are at home working and everything. They can only guarantee like up to 5 megs, and that's pretty slow. So when everything is good, I get like upwards of 30 on the hotspot. So I'm just
Really?
I'll do it that way.
Wow, you're super crisp. You're coming
Yeah,
in nice and
perfect.
clear. You're perfect. So, hey, it is what it is. If if you get cut out or it doesn't work, then
No worries.
man, no worries at all. But yeah, we saw you in the backstage. So, but we were just these things take sometimes time to kick in. But really appreciate you jumping in with us, Chris. This is obviously your Texas shop.
It is. Yeah, there's a couple crowd favorites in the back there lurking.
I see
Nice.
I
We like it.
I definitely see the silver coupe. That's
Mhm.
it's one of my favorite coupes
It's a
out
beauty.
there.
Mhm. What's the weather in Texas today? Is it warm? Make us jealous.
This whole week has just been phenomenal. Just t-shirts, windows down, running errands. Like, you don't need heat, you don't need AC. It's just like that perfect mix.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, I wish.
So are you like, do you stay there? So what's kind of your setup? Are you there in Texas for good now, or are you going to be coming sort of back and forth?
Yeah, so the plan is to be down here. I want to get back to Canada when I can, and most likely during the summertime. Travel, is still a little challenging. And so for now, the idea is to be down here. I've actually acquired a commercial spot so that, I've quickly outgrown what I have here.
Wow.
And yeah, I'm just going to keep going with it, man. It's, me and Kazel talked about our career changes and everything else on our podcast the other week. And that's just it. It's all in. Like I said, I do want to be able to come and go between Canada. I love going camping and enjoying the summer and all those things. And I still have a number of cars up there. So I do have some things to take care of. But yeah, no, Texas has just always felt like home. I don't know how to explain it. You guys will just have to come and visit and see for yourself.
It's on our list of places to visit. I've always wanted to go to Texas. So
it's definitely on the bucket list. So yeah, man. So how many, that shop there, like in the videos, it looks huge, right? So how many square feet is that shop there that you're in now? You got a lot of cars in there.
Yeah, it's about 2,500. It looks bigger on camera because it was actually you guys would love this. They were personal trainers. So that's why there's mirrors all around, and they had like the black, I don't know, rubberized mat down on the floor.
Yeah.
And man, it was pretty cool looking, when you first saw it on the real estate listing, and just like, the glass doors, and then the fancy HVAC. I guess the first owner who built it was an HVAC. So that's why, that's, everyone always asks like, oh man, does the HVAC like propel the fans? So the answer is yes, it does. But yeah, no, it's all spray foamed, and I got heat when it's cold, I got AC when it's hot, and then the other side, I got the Lincoln hiding.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
It's kind of a tight squeeze, so tight for the Lincoln because it's massive. But yeah, there's a good amount of cars in here. I need to get a 2-post and some 4-posts and make a little bit more room.
Yeah. Well, if you got some 4-posts, obviously that would free up some space, right? Are you planning on keeping this and expanding to that other commercial unit that you're talking about, or?
Yeah, so I got the commercial spot just to kind of like test the area out, to be honest. I don't think it really matters where I am. And I'm very fortunate for that. Actually, I don't even think I would want like I don't know, like a downtown or somewhere where everyone knew where I was, because I'd never get any work done. So I'm gonna try the location, test everything out probably for a year. And then I'll see if I want to potentially expand off here or maybe another location or whatever. It's just kind of that, I guess, the trial phase.
Right on. So I know what Gary is doing as far as career wise, and I guess, is this what you're going to be doing like full time, like kind of a shop, working on Fox bodies only kind of thing, or?
Yeah, I don't want it to only be Fox bodies. The problem is, as you guys know, with YouTube, you got to kind of keep your content like this. Mm-hmm. And it was really disappointing. You guys might have seen my dad's 58 Corvette father-son project, and I posted a couple of videos up about it. And, you know, I don't even care if you're a Chevy guy. You should be a classic car, you know, enthusiast guy. So with that said, you know, I got the Lincoln. I want to finish up that 58 Corvette, and there's a number of other potential projects in the pipeline with some Godzilla content that I'm pretty excited about. Just the question is, how am I going to, I don't know, fragment it or section it off? You know, do I start another channel? Or do I some
playlists? Different playlists.
Or completely different playlists. And, you know, I played around with it, even with Instagram. You know, it was, you know, my infamous project page that was showcasing all the different cars and bikes and trucks. And then, you know, I just do one on, sorry, I'm backwards, on the silver car. And you know, it's unreal when you just kind of focus and hone in on one thing. And then it's that whole branding thing. I guess one day when people care about me and not what I have versus only what I have and not about me, that's sort of the difference, right?
I totally agree. Yeah. And, you know, I'm just a small channel compared to you guys, yourself, and not others. And even for me, I notice if I deviate a little bit from the Fox body, nobody looks. Nobody looks. If I put something with Fox body, it's a very niche little window there. So you're right. It's tough. You know, I put up my buddy's SN95. I think it's a great build. This, that didn't get much traction at all, right? So, but that's okay.
Yeah. Hey, that's why you don't see me post much about my SN95 either.
Yeah. It's too bad though. Like you said, though, you want people, if they appreciate you, they're going to watch you and be loyal to you, not just, you know, just to the Fox body world, right? Like, I mean, if you're,
and to be honest, you know, I don't care about, you know, 50,000, 100,000 subs. Oh, am I back?
Yeah.
Sometimes
you'll see
there's like a delay.
Yes, sometimes you'll see I'm pausing because I can see when you're slightly glitching. So if you see I'm pausing, it's because I'm waiting for you to kind of kick back in. But that's all right. We'll work with it. It's all good, man. It's all good.
Oh, okay. Good stuff.
Go on. So sorry, finish.
Actually, I lost my train of thought there. What was? I was actually just reading the comments and it just completely sidetracked me.
Sally's watching the comments. So if there's anybody that has
keep it one channel, bro. I, for one, appreciate all the cars, even though I'm a Fox body.
Right.
That's from Superfly.
Yeah, that was the point, right? Like 50K, 100K, you know, I like to, I guess, interact as much as I can with all the viewers and social media. And as I'm sure you guys know, it's a challenge. And as you grow, it becomes even a larger challenge. And it's one of those things that I pride myself in terms of, because I remember I was reaching out to lots of people when I very first did the infamous project, so long ago. And it's very important to be able to recognize and help people. And I think part of coming from an education background and always wanting to like help others and see them succeed, or give them resources and information that can help them achieve goals in their projects is really important. So, I do feel bad if I, miss somebody's comment. Instagram is horrible in terms of the way that you interact with people, because your DMs, can get slammed to the bottom. You might forget about somebody, and then, so it's challenging.
It is very difficult, for sure. Chris, a couple things I wanted to talk to you about was, or we can tell, I'm sure most people know, or most of the people in the stream already know that obviously you have, now, do you own the rights to Desh, or do you own that company outright?
Right. So, no, I don't own the rights, and I probably never will own the rights. Right. It's been a battle, in a good way. You know what I mean? I'm glad that after all the persistence and the years of chasing down Derek, I managed to corner him at a Starbucks where, he loved to meet anybody. Always Starbucks in Scarborough. And, he it's hard to explain him. And this is going to be my challenge when I try and do the Dutch documentary, is really how to explain the way that he was, and just his personality, because it was, Dutch was, unfortunately, was a nightmare to him, with all his health issues that had happened in the past. And he essentially woke up to, not having his business anymore. So he really didn't want anything to do with the company. His son played a large role in it. And, so I'm working with Peter directly now in terms of still being able to do the body kits and the shift knobs and a couple little things here or there. But it's probably going to be the extent. Anything else in the future would be a tip product, maybe with a Dutch flair. Gotcha.
Right on. Now, how many cars? I've always been curious. Obviously, I know you go through a lot of cars, and
we lost Chris. But
we lost Chris.
I'm highlighting all the comments, guys. I'm hoping you can see that. But there's a couple of
Disaster, Brailford, Blue Oval,
Mustang Nation.
Thanks for coming in. Chris is trying to make it.
Add to stream. There we go.
It's all good, brother.
All right.
So Ken here just said you're
totally. It kicked me right out.
We got Ken from Blue Oval Media. He says, man, it's my role models, the infamous project, and Paul and Sally.
You're the original gangster.
He's the original gangster.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people coming in just saying hi.
Hi, Matt. So the guys are all here. I'm highlighting them as we go, and I'm just keeping them up so you guys can see. But there's a really nice comment here from Superfly as well. You guys inspired me to start my channel. It's a small, but nonetheless, it's mine. And that's exactly it, right? It doesn't matter how big or small, it's yours. And the content is real and sincere, and that's what it's about. So that's awesome. Good for you.
So before we got cut there, Chris, you can see the comments, correct?
You can see them, right? Oh, darn.
I like it. This is gonna be a good battle.
Tim.
All my favorite channels on TV tonight. This is better than NCIS. Thanks, Tim. Well, Chris, for the guys coming in just now into the stream, Chris has a very weak signal where he is, but that's okay. He's trying his best, and if it doesn't work, he's been in right from the get-go. He's trying to pull in.
All right.
There we go.
It's almost like, don't move.
It just kicked me hard out. It was just like something went wrong. Maybe it's on our side. We're sorry for the inconvenience. Try again.
No worries. No worries. Okay. It's all good. Before we got booted there, I've always, I know you have a lot of cars. I know that you got a lot of beautiful cars, by the way. Your silver one is my favorite of all your cars. Actually, your black vert is up there. It's pretty close for me as well too. I like them all. My top three of your cars is your silver coupe, your black vert, and your the strawberry hatch. Those are my three favorite. That being said, they're all beautiful cars.
Yeah.
I guess my question was going to be, which one's your favorite? Is it the obvious silver coupe behind you, or which one's your favorite?
Oh, very good question. I'll put strawberry last. It's unfortunate. It's hard to say that, but I'll put it at the back. But yeah, it'd be a close run between. You know, the Stalker Vert and then the Tip Dutch Coupe, they're so, it's hard to compare. You know what I mean? Like there's so much, I guess, history, memories, it's sentiment 100% with the Stalker Vert. You know, the Dutch Coupe is, I guess, just sort of like a dream car build. And, you know, I guess if one of them had to go, it probably would be that, it would be the coupe, just because I don't know, man, and we all, I think, get to that point when we do a crazy build, which is everything and anything that we've ever wanted, and we throw it all into a car, and then it's sort of like, oh, it's done. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I really don't want to do anything more to it. You know, it's so low mile. It's, you know, everything is kind of just right. You know, no expense spared really, versus the Stalker Vert, which is just like, there's always something, man. Like I could spend a lifetime modifying that car and doing stuff to it.
You know what? I watched, I actually enjoyed some of Matt's videos, Gearhead's videos about your cars, because, you know, you always learn something. And one of my favorite features was, I did not know the Stalker Vert had the gas tank, the gas cap behind the plate at the back. That's really cool, man.
Sorry, man. You were. I just saw Ken's.
Says Chris
Ken's
has.
post.
Chris has the best collection in the world. And then Ryan right below it, Disaster Clan, says, Chris, your Wi-Fi sucks down there. Come back to Canada.
I'd rather be in Texas. It's warmer there.
I don't know if you heard.
Sorry, what was that last question?
I said I've been really enjoying. You know, Matt Gearhead was doing a couple of videos on some of your cars, and I love all his videos. But on the Stalker Vert, I did not know that you had the gas filler neck behind the plate, like the old school behind the plate. I thought that was really cool, man. Uh-oh.
Yeah, man, that came back all computer voice, unfortunately. I know it's me, man.
R2D2 Star Wars, is that what you're hearing down there, or what?
I'm almost gonna have to start writing it out.
What a burn. I'm gonna have to take a beer break. All the Wi-Fi.
I'll go grab you one.
I'm gonna grab a beer break.
Someone has a question, so read the question, because
Okay,
hopefully Chris can, or
Chris,
I'm gonna put it up and Chris can read it if he can't hear it.
We put up a question for you. Hopefully you can hear me. It says, Chris, how long did it take you to get your brand out there and see results? That's from Superfly Garage.
All right. How long did it take for me to get my results?
Ah, shit.
Did he disappear?
Yeah.
Darn.
I feel bad. All right. Hopefully he'll come back. I need a beer. Okay, Superfly, we'll come back to you. Chris is gone. Tommy Turbo, I'm hearing about Dutch for the first time here. Very cool history. I'm Googling more now. Yeah, it's a pretty cool kit. That's obviously what you guys see on Chris's car on the thumbnail. Car Mob, we see you there. Thanks, guys. It's obviously, while Chris is talking, it's hard for us to address the comments, but we're highlighting everybody. Victor, we see you. James Salter, thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. BBQ Mike, Superfly, much love to you, bro, at Blue Oval Media. That was for Ken. Chris is coming back. We back in the house. I was just going through some comments while you were rebooting there, Chris. So
go back. I'm going to go back to the question he had from Superfly. So that way
Are
he
you
can
good?
see it.
He's frozen.
You frozen?
He's frozen. Look, he's looking pretty. He's frozen.
Well, at least you look good on camera, Chris.
I had so many questions for him, but that's okay.
I feel
Okay, keep
bad.
going.
He's frozen.
Keep highlighting.
Okay, so
He'll
we'll have
come
to
back.
remember to go to that one. Okay, you saw all of these,
I think,
right?
I think you heard the question.
Where
Right.
did you leave off? Disaster? Which one?
I'm not a Vert fan, but Stalker Vert is a killer machine, 100%. Flashcards.
That's what I said, right? I'm like, Tom, I'm gonna have to do some flashcards. I'm gonna have to write it out.
Yeah, he's having a hard time.
Okay, it's coming.
Yeah.
Wait, it's like, don't move.
Hey,
Don't
cheers,
move.
Chris. I don't know if you can hear me, but cheers. Can you hear us now, Chris?
What's my shirt?
It's on the other side. Can't read it.
With
Put on the solo cell.
Hold
Hold on. We're going solo. We're going
Hold on.
solo.
what? Come closer.
You're oh, Neo Mustang.
I like it. Nice.
I like it. Yeah. Yeah, he's a cool
All
kid.
right.
I like Danny.
I like it. I like it. Here, I'm gonna put your question up. You had a good question here.
Yeah,
Where is
right
it?
there. You passed it. It was Superfly.
Superfly's question. You had a
Right
great
down,
question
right
for
there,
you.
right there.
This one. You see it?
Chris, how long did it take you to get your brand out there and see results?
Oh yeah.
It's a great question.
Yeah, that's a loaded
Sure,
question. So, man, the last time I live streamed was over 10 years ago when I started
wow.
the Infamous project. That's the reality of kind of when I started putting my brand out there, and probably a little bit before its time. YouTube didn't live stream. I was using Ustream, and actually I had the same kind of internet service as I do tonight back then, unfortunately. But it's greater than 10 years. A lot of people, at least Canada wise, know me from forums and GTA MC and all those other groups. But man, seeing results, that's a hard one, right? Because I stepped away from it. I took a huge break. That probably hurt me in reality. But I started making videos again, just about 3 years ago now. And where I'm at now is sort of, I guess, where the results are. But I think where I'm at now is based on some of that initial following that I had before, because I kind of had the ball was already rolling.
Mhm.
And, the algorithms were probably seeing kind of that consistency, even though that I was overseas. And, you just got to work at it. I think anybody coming into the game right now, it's potentially an uphill battle. And I know there's a lot of people doing it. All I can say is, if you keep going at it, some people are just naturally going to die off. Like, I could even decide that I'm going to stop doing videos and social media because maybe
there's been a lot of times.
turn into too much. You never know, right?
There's been a lot of times. Chris, where I thought I was going to pack it in myself, just because, as you know, it's very time consuming. It's a lot of work. So there has been many times, and Sally keeps giving me a little push. Don't give up. Just keep going. Even if you have to back off, just keep going. Just keep taking a step forward. So I think maybe if it wasn't for Sally, I may have packed it in already. But Sally keeps giving me a little push from behind to keep going. So it's helpful. It's helpful. But I hear you. I'm gonna go back to the GTA MC. Can you hear me okay, Chris?
Yeah, no, it's I think I'm doing the upload. I think it's the download portion that's creating the issue. But as long as I'm uploading, even if you guys just type me the questions, I'm happy to, I'll spit out answers or whatever else. It's all good.
Okay.
Type it.
I'm gonna type it unless you can hear me.
I'm gonna move that beer before it goes somewhere.
You're gonna knock this beer.
I'm gonna move it.
Beer is good.
Yeah, Sapporo. We're chewing on us.
Well,
sipping on a
you're having a
Sapporo.
Sapporo, not me.
Did you? Can you hear me? Okay, Chris?
It's choppy.
Yeah, it's choppy.
He's having he's sipping, so that means no.
Did you end up saving?
Did you end up
saving that for him?
There's your question.
Okay, you got to highlight it.
I gotta go to it.
It's way at the bottom.
Right there.
Right there.
Do you see it?
Let's see here. No, I just see my stuff. Let me see here.
I like this.
What?
This is funny.
This
Look,
is what happens.
this is what happens when you have so many nice cars that block the internet signal.
Oh, Ken. Oh, he's gone again. Darn.
All right, guys.
Okay, let's go back up. We missed some comments. We have to go back up.
There's some comments.
Poor
We're
Chris.
trying. It's not Chris's fault.
No, it's just,
Chris.
I mean, he pre-warned us it could happen, right?
Yeah, that's okay.
That's too bad.
If he wants to just go in the stream, Chris, if you can hear us and if you just want to stay in the stream and answer some questions, by all means. But no sweat, man. I don't want to stress you out.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you even trying to come on. You had pre-warned us that this may happen, so no worries, man. It's all good. Last thing we want to do is, make you feel uncomfortable or whatnot. So don't worry about it, Chris. It's all good. We appreciate you. We love you, and don't worry about it. It's all good.
I'm gonna make sure I catch everyone's comments in here and see if I missed any questions for him.
Doing what you love is worth the sacrifice. Car Mom's in the house. Okay.
Hey, Car Mom.
It's just us. You guys are just stuck with us now. So
Superfly, absolutely. Doing what you love is a sacrifice.
Let's catch up on some.
And things don't, happen overnight, right? It's it's a work in progress, like anything. It doesn't matter what it is.
I'm going to text Chris, guys. So
Yeah.
Sally, you keep reading. I'm going to text Chris and just tell him.
I think he
not to worry
did see
about
your question, Paul, but I don't know.
That's okay.
That's okay. I love Ken's comment.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
So
you're trying to convince your dad to get you a Desh kit.
Detch.
A Detch. You're trying
a lot
to
of people pronounce it Desh, but it's
Detch.
Yeah.
Well, you better
So-
start convincing pretty hard.
Where is the? I don't know. There he is.
Car Mob. You gonna send him a message?
Yeah.
He might not even be able to get on his phone.
I think his phone. Keep going.
I'm just going to highlight them all. It was frozen there ourselves. Timothy, Miss Sally always pops in people's videos and says hello to everyone. That's so nice. I definitely try, that's for sure. Try to make a lot of effort
All right.
for everybody.
Like we said, you guys are just stuck with us. Nothing we can do. We appreciate
Hey,
Paul.
Rich.
Guys.
Yes.
Sean, Paul, did you shave your head? I did.
Have a look. Looks great.
I got rid of the.
Just show them.
I got rid of the flow.
It's smooth.
Couldn't do it.
Just show them.
Hey,
It
come
looks
on.
great.
There we go. Low maintenance, man. It was so nice. The barber I said, take it to town.
He looks great with hair, no hair. It doesn't matter.
Okay, let's go. Paul,
Ken.
did you shave your head? Yes. Yeah, Paul, your car is amazing. I can't wait to see it. Thanks, Ken. I appreciate that. I don't know if it's amazing. It still has to prove itself, but I hope it's going to be amazing.
It will be.
We'll see.
It'll be fun to take it down to the track.
Yeah,
That's for sure.
We'll see what happens. So that was actually one of the questions I had for Chris.
Yeah.
And one of the questions was going to be, I don't think he's like huge into the drag. I'm sure he appreciates the drag cars, but I'm just kind of interested.
Have you ever gone down to the track?
No. Is there any interest of him ever building a drag car down the road? So, but
No.
his cars are nice. That's all that matters. Somebody had said, Paul, I don't know who it was in the comments, but they had said, Paul, you asking Chris to choose between his cars is like asking who your favorite kid is, kind of thing.
It's true.
It's kind of true. I get it,
true.
but you always have a favorite. Oh, he's coming back, sort of.
Look at you and changed.
You got changed?
Well, you know, I was getting a hard time from Matt. He's just like, by the way, I wore your shirt when I did the live stream last week. So I knew he'd be upset if I didn't wear his.
Oh, man. You know what, Chris? I messaged you. I was like, I don't want to get you stressed out or whatnot. You know, if it keeps coming out, I don't want you to get frustrated with it. So if it's too much of a pain in the ass, it's all good, brother. No worries. We appreciate you coming in. You know what I mean? You had pre-warned us this could happen. And but we're glad you're back. That being said, I'm not kicking you out by any means. If you get kicked out on your own accord, don't worry about it. We're
no
all
stress.
good.
No, man, it's all good. Hey, I got beer here to keep me company. So.
I don't want you to stress out. I guess the bottom line is I don't want you to get stressed out over a stream. So we're good, man. We're good.
I was flying through some of the comments here.
What are you sipping on, anyways? We're laughing with you, brother, and not at you. Don't worry.
At least he's smiling.
No worries.
I was trying to ask you what you were drinking.
If we had a jet, we'd go to Texas and we could do the stream all together. It's frozen. Damn.
Is he frozen?
Yeah.
No, he blinked. Oh. He's good. He's alive.
We're like watching for movement.
He really probably changes.
I think I'm going to go try beating my Wi-Fi repeater one more time with a stick. And then, it's funny, right? Because the upload is fine. I almost feel like if we could kill your video somehow, so I'm not trying to download your video stream, that everything would be fine. That's the weird thing. Man, I come from a tech background too. You think I'd have this solved.
There, you're on solo.
You're on solo. Let's see.
Look, and you still freeze.
Are you on solo now? So let's see.
Can we do like this?
Oh, well, there you go. Hey, yeah, that actually worked for a second, but now you're back.
What, the solo?
Try the solo.
Yeah, try the solo.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that better for you?
Yeah, I can still hear you guys, so I'm just seeing me. That's fine. So I can't see all your facial
Well, at least you look pretty on camera and solo.
Because maybe that way I'm only downloading audio, right? So that might.
Okay, so we'll do that.
That's a learning.
There you go.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, you're a techie guy. So this is
this
is your expertise.
So when you were frozen there, Sally and I were saying he's changing shirts because he's sweating his ass off over there. He's sweating bullets.
Well, it's worked to my advantage, right? Because I'm just like, oh man, because I kind of wanted to make Matt, or not upset, but like nervous, like, oh, why would he wear Danny's shirt and not wear mine after I asked him about it? So yeah, no, I just wanted to tease him and have a good time. It's great that all of us all get along and everything else. That's one thing that I have to say is that I guess us as enthusiasts and as influencers, it's such an amazing network. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. We get a question here from General Hawk. Light it up, Sal. It says, what could be randomly causing my Fox to use way more fuel than usual? And I can smell gas when it's running, definitely running rich, but any other input? Whew.
Oh man, so if it's a number of things, first thing I do is, even though it's good old OBD1, I love to pull the codes. I love to grab the test light and do a little jumper cable, obviously not to the hood lights. You don't want to fry your computer, but bad O2s. I'd say, does the check engine light even work on the dash? Most people have them ripped out, right? But bad O2s, you could have some back leaks that are causing some, excess fuel to be getting tossed down in there. Man, it's Fox body woes, but I'd start by pulling the codes because the codes are going to give you a little bit of a heads up, whether it's O2 or EGR or VAC or any of those things.
100%. Superfly Garage, thanks for all the questions. He's asking, is it Detch kit difficult to install on an 89 GT? Well, that's going to be a little harder. But
it's more. Yeah, it's more challenging than putting them on an LX, but you can do it. Actually, I got some videos of what year was that now? Man, all these, I'm forgetting what year is what. So in 2020, I actually did a GT that, I cut all of the skirts, and I'm sure it pained a number of people to see me take that cutoff wheel and literally cut every single GT skirt right below the molding strip and then put the Dutch kit on. But it can be done, and it looks different, right? Because you get the fatter, I guess, the strip and the GT molding as opposed to the LX.
Right. Tom, War Admiral, I'm here to inform everyone that Chris's 4i dash build is off limits. Thanks. Wow.
And I have to say, I think I'm going to get a little crucified by a lot of people in terms of what I'm doing to that 4i coupe, because it is legitimately an OG 505 speed 4i notch. And it was like that, I don't know, poo-poo brown color on tan interior. So I guess it was a rare car back in the day, but to me, I wouldn't say it was a desirable car. But with that said, I'm surprised by the amount of people that have actually reached out and that are like wanting to buy that build. And I'm not even, we haven't even put color on the car yet, but I'm very excited for it, because there are a lot of questions about, do Dutch kits fit on 4i's? And man, I don't even remember the last time I touched a 4i, and I don't want to touch the 86 that Gearhead wants to bid on, but it's you got to do a 4i, and it's going to be definitely a very, very interesting flair on it.
Right on.
Disaster.
We got from Disaster Clan, says, Chris, I love your content on your channel, brother. Top notch, 100%. Love the project, tax return beauty car.
Yeah, I'm glad you loved it, and I'm glad that the owners loved it. But man, I got to say, that project kicked my ass. Like some people, we all go through those stages where it's just like, it's just me. Why am I getting all this bad luck? And man, it was one, but it just goes to show, persistence. You can overcome any obstacle, which it just came to mind. What's his name? Kona Stang, the guy who got rear-ended during Mustang Week last year.
Yeah.
Man, I got to give that guy props, because I thought I moved quick, and like this guy has just, taken that force. I think it was a 4-banger shell that he got off somebody. And it's not just swapping everything over. Like, dude is literally, welded up his engine bay. He's redone the whole underside of the car, and he's going with air ride, which obviously I can appreciate that component of it. But man, that guy's hustling. So yeah, kudos to you, Mr. Kona.
Right on. We got Tim Windsor. Thanks for pinning. We pinned your YouTube channel, Chris. So everyone that obviously is coming into the stream, your channel link is right there for anyone to join your channel.
Appreciate it.
LG 1976. He says, first time here. Thanks for popping in, LG. And thanks for Tim for acknowledging him and pinning Chris's channel link. Two Stangs Production says, what are your experiences with Torque Storm?
I can't say I'm familiar with that.
No, neither am I.
I should be Googling.
It says, what are your experience? He made a correction here, a couple comments down. What are your experiences with Torque Storm superchargers?
Oh, here it is.
I've never
I've
never heard of them, to be honest.
No, neither have I.
Wow.
It's a good question. Two thanks.
Well, tell them to send the link.
Drop in the link.
Drop in the link in there.
Put in the link.
Yeah.
In there. We'll have a look.
Okay. Superfly.
Superfly. Man, I am going to have to drive to Texas to have that kit installed by you, Chris.
Yeah, anybody is welcome. It's a great place to come. So yeah, bring your car, and we'll get you sorted out. The more Dutch cars down here, the merrier.
Well, you know what?
Wouldn't mind a white one.
When you started. I think obviously Dutch is more, better known in Canada than in the U.S.
Someone put that comment up there.
100%,
Yeah.
and I would bet or guess that a lot of people in the States have maybe never seen it. Even when I put up, I put up my friend Adrian's Dutch coupe. It was a red one, and I had some comments in there saying, "I've never seen that kit before, never seen it." So that obviously told me it's not as prominent in the States versus here. So yeah, but I think your car is changing that, man.
Which makes it more appealing for me anyway. I like things that are different and not everywhere.
Of all the kits out there that we can put on, that is my favorite kit. Like if I was to ever put a kit on, that would be my favorite.
Yeah.
And no offense to the Celine guys and whatever other, the Stalker kits and all those other packages out there. I just personally like this one.
Me too.
I think it complements the car actually nicely.
Very nice.
Yeah, no. The Dutch kits, absolutely. Like when you really look at them, just the way they flow and they follow the natural flares of the fenders and the rear quarters. It's just one of those things. A lot of people don't. It's almost subliminal. They don't understand what looks so good about the kits. You'll always have those people. Body kits, don't put them on, and it's really an awareness thing. At the end of the day, the Celine following is massive, and those. Actually, a lot of the Celine guys are very much aware of Dutch cars. I have to say, I've actually been in touch with the president of the Celine Owners Association, I believe. And, a lot of the members were interested in being able to even find Dutch cars, which is a battle in all of itself. There's been so many clones. There were so many cars that were built, but not officially numbered. So it's challenging, but I love spreading the word. I love the way that they look. I've always loved it. So I'm always going to be that champion. So let's see if we can get more out there, then all the better.
For sure. And your silver coupe, obviously it has, I know my brain is kind of scrambling here tonight, but that's all right, man. I'm sure you'd rather get some questions than none. So my brain's kind of scrambling, but your silver coupe there, obviously, there's not many Fox bodies on airbags. How much work was that to get in there, Chris? Was there a lot of? Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the reality is, like, in terms of putting the actual suspension components in, it's really not that much more involved than if you were going from a coil spring setup over to coilovers. It's probably very similar. The reality is that the most complicated part is your air management. And I actually went OG. I'm on analog, so I have independent, switches. There's no automatic settings or anything like that. So I literally look at the gauges to see what the pressure is. And I know roughly where I want to be depending on what stance I'm going for, if I'm on the road or, I want to look good. That blue notch that I had last year that I didn't have very long was on bags as well. And it had a really nice air management setup, digital display. You could hit tow mode, which would make it like a 4x4, or, you turn the key off, the car would go down. As soon as you start the car up, it would go to kind of its preset ride height. So getting the air management's the trickiest part. The kit that's in this car is a Ride Tech kit, which was the Cool Ride. That's bags. And Ride Tech used Firestone bags. So Firestone makes airbags for everything way up to dump trucks and tractor trailers, all that type of stuff. So they're really just a Firestone bag that they've found the right, I guess, cross reference that would work well in a Fox, and then they built the brackets accordingly. Now they're not doing the bags anymore. They've actually switched to a bag on strut / bag on shock. So it's literally like a coilover for airbags, if you will. So the bag actually rests on the top of the strut itself, and RideTech uses all Fox struts and shocks, to my understanding. I want to say, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that Fox acquired RideTech, or I think that's what happened. Anyways, they don't do the bags anymore. So if anybody wanted the old traditional bag setup, you'd have to buy it used. Now they have this new one. And actually, going back to Kona, I don't think RideTech was able to come up with, and it might be shortages or things with supply chain going on right now. So he's got the rear bag over shocks for the rear, but the front he actually had to go with a different company. So I'm curious to know on how that worked out for him, because the other aspect of having the bag on top of the strut is the width of that bag. I know that RideTech's is fairly slim. Some of the other companies, they're quite wide. So if you're trying to get a really wide wheel in the front, you'd have to be a little nervous if that wheel might touch the bag, and you wouldn't want to blow out a bag.
Right on. We got just a little, I guess, from Vince Perillo here. It says, "What's up, Chris? Stalker's Canadian clone in the house."
Nice.
BBQ Mike is, why air ride suspension? That was a question for you.
Yeah, I'm a low guy. It's there's a lot of variations of us enthusiasts out there. I know, Paul, you like to go fast, man, and you make some crazy builds. Danny, he's a lot about racing as well. Myself, I'm more actually about the appearance and the stance of the cars. I like to do engine mods and stuff too, but usually I'm on the street, and if we look at the Stalker Vert, which is, you can see that wheel is pretty much in the fender well.
Oh yeah, tucked in there pretty good.
Like that, the exhaust, I kid you not, and I have it tucked up. Like I have loosened all the hardware for the exhaust off. I have jacked it up and then tightened it up so that I could get it as close to the floor as I can. And it's literally hanging an inch off the ground. That's the Fox bodies. I guess the downfall. If you want to go really low, that exhaust is going to catch stuff. And I keep 2x4s in the back of it because although I'm good at knowing where I'm going with it, but you never know. If an obstacle comes around, man, I got to throw a 2x4 down just so that I can get over it. So needless to say, when I got the Dutch Coupe, and we're talking, it was 12,000 original miles when I got this car, and it's all OG paint except for the kit. The last thing you want is to hit something or start scraping stuff on the undercarriage. So I was like, you know what? I need something. I need to look low, but I need to be able to raise it up in certain situations. And I went with the air ride. And honestly, I still have, mind you, they're 18,000 mile struts and shocks that are factory with the air ride. And that's it.
Wow.
Anybody that rides in this car will tell you it does not ride anything like a Fox body. It is the most comfortable ride, I have to say. And I have gone through every suspension setup known to man in terms of being low. And I am telling you, air ride, it is hard to beat. And, if I threw a set of Bilsteins in there or a set of Conies or something else, I know it would just be that much better. Or maybe, maybe I will swap it out to the RideTech's newer design, and maybe I should take the bags and shift them over to the poor Stalker Vert that's stuck static on the ground.
And she looks good even for
Yeah.
static, but
Yeah.
totally get it. Are there long tubes on the stocker, or are they shorties or equal length, or what do you got on there?
I think they're I think they're Mac, just a shorty. Back in the day when I did the car, the old school long tubes, they were always designed, like they always hung low. So if you wanted to have a lowered car, man, I actually have an old set of out of the Ford SVO catalog long tube headers. They have the individual gaskets for each. And it's like, I don't want to put them on anything because I know they're going to hang too low and I'm not going to be able to drive what I put them on. So I might need to sell those. But I have that blue coupe last year. That one actually had long tubes and it did pretty good. I'm not sure which brand they were, but I am glad that because I love the way that long tubes sound. It's just it's always been a lowness thing for me.
For sure, 150%.
Well, Chris, when we win the lottery, maybe I'll send you some money and you can find me a white one and put it on airbags for me because stands and rims are important to me.
The Cali sitting over there.
You kind of gonna have to make it go fast too. So I want a little bit of everything.
So no interest, Chris, and I know you kind of partially answered the question already. So no interest in, making one dry car, or no interest in that area? I know you got a lot of beautiful show pieces, and like you said, you're about the looks and stance, but
yeah, I've sort of, because you guys have seen the Celine that I got. That is a race car. Yeah. And part of me and a lot of people have been like, dude, just keep it the way it is. Clean it up, do your thing, but keep it a race car. And I don't know. I think I'd be more about the road course and route, and kind of like going after kind of, Detch's approach or Celine's approach with more power. I like the cornering. I like the braking. I think that's why I'm like a BMW guy as well, and that's the other thing, my BMWs perform so well in all of those aspects that the Fox bodies sort of, I don't take a side seat to a certain respect, like my M5 is just an absolute.
There you are. I thought you froze. I was like, darn. Oh, it's freezing. Yeah, it is.
It's freezing a little bit. It's all right, guys.
Give him a minute.
Sit tight, guys. Let's give Chris a minute. If you guys are wondering why Chris is on solo, it's strictly to make the Wi-Fi run smoother, but we might have to switch back. So
yeah, his Wi-Fi is.
All right.
Oh, there you are.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, we were doing so good.
Yeah, it's all right. But you're speaking to a Beamer family here. So I love my Beamer. My daily's a Beamer. I love that car. I've had, I've hummed and hawed of, looking at an M4. I love those M4. I love the Beamer. I love the way they drive, handle, sound. And how quiet they are, how smooth and how quiet they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and you can wake them up, and that's, my M5, it's got full Hamann long tubes, no cats, and just the cat back. And you know what? When it idles or you're driving normal, you don't hear it, but man, you step on it. It's almost like a newer, like an S550. Those cars are sort of like that too. They can be quiet, but they can be loud, which is kind of a nice balance. But you can't touch BMW when you talk about the luxuries or the amenities inside the car, and no rattles or leaks or wind noise. There's something to be said about what those Germans are doing.
I love the sound deadening property of the car. Like even though I have an old Beamer, but I don't want to let it go. It's a knee 90, 335 XI, and
Oh, nice.
just bone stock. It's my daily driver. I got to commute a little bit to work, so yeah, it's piling on the kilometers, but it still goes pretty good. It still goes pretty good.
The 335s are awesome. That was my daily driver when I was in Dubai, and man, I loved it. Like in terms of power and handling and everything else, they're awesome cars.
Mm-hmm.
I
like German cars. I'm a German. I love my German cars. So,
and they're just getting better. And I've kind of hinted that I'm going to bring my son's car into the channel eventually. It's a cool little Golf R, and I love that little car, man. And that thing goes like, until you get in it, it goes like stink. That little car goes like stink.
What was that truck, the BMW that I took out for a test drive? Was it what was it again?
Sally took out a test drive the X5, the one with the twin turbo.
Holy moly!
I was like, Sal, slow down.
Oh, she was great.
It's amazing on how fast you go in those, German, European cars, and you don't even realize how fast you're going. And it's just like, man, I should be on the Autobahn.
That's what I felt like. It sucked us back in the seats. It was awesome. It was great. I was like, this is fun. Let's go.
Just watch that 50 over law or whatever. Isn't it like a 40 or a 20?
Yeah.
Didn't they change that law or something recently too?
It's 50 over in anything over an 80 speed limit zone. And then 40 over in 80 and less. So a 70 zone, a 60 zone, 50. So if you're in a 50 and you're doing 90, the same penalties, all those ramifications. You get clobbered hard. Like you get clobbered hard, right?
I went into some back streets, came to a dead stop, did a little
You went to Mexico.
Yeah,
Mexico.
I went to Mexico. It was awesome.
Yeah, but it's and what people don't realize, it's not the initial penalties and fines, and it's that long-term effect on your insurance. That's where you get crushed. And I know some insurance companies are kicking people out of their policy as soon as they get convicted of that offense, right? So I think we got a couple more questions here for you. For Superfly, did you cut the springs on the vert? Maybe tell us about what springs are in there again. What springs, and are they cut?
Yeah, so that car has gone through a lot of iterations, but right now the front are actually Ken's old Raceland coilovers, and I have them on Maximum Motorsport caster camber plates, and I have them as far down as they could possibly go. It was just sort of a little bit of a call it a science fair experiment of Fox bodies, which funny enough, same Raceland coilovers, same Maximum Motorsport caster. Actually, no, it was a different brand. I take that back. But caster camber plates, same deal that I put in my white coupe and the white Dutch coupe, to be more specific. And I cranked them all the way down, and it didn't go as low as the stocker vert. So I don't know if I got a different variation of it. But anyways, so Raceland's in the front, and then the rear of the stocker vert is actually a setup that I created, 12, 14, a long time ago. I actually took E36 BMW spring perches for their coilover setup for the rear that fit perfectly on the lower control arm of the Fox body. So I literally put that perch and bolted it on the bottom side, which gave me the adjustability factor. And they're actually stock springs in the rear that I've cut, and I'd say there's over 3 coils missing. There's not very much spring left back there. But The reality is, what people don't get is that spring rates are a very interesting thing. And a lot of people, criticize people who cut springs. The reality is, don't get me wrong, if you don't have enough spring in there and your spring is going to fall out, then that's a little bit of an issue. And funny enough, now all the coilover kits have adopted this design, but they put the perch on the top side, which actually helps because by it being on the top, it helps keep the spring in place.
Yes.
But the reality is, when you cut a spring, you increase the spring rate, and it's going to naturally make the spring stiffer. So a stock spring, which is 450 pounds per inch, when you start cutting material off that, you're going to naturally increase that rate up, and you're going to end up with something a little bit stiffer, which you need as you go lower. But a stock spring that's cut can actually ride pretty good. The problem that a lot of people face is that they don't couple it with a proper shock or strut that can take the abuse. And KYB GR2 is the worst. And I know it's the number one shock and strut that everyone runs to when they got to replace it. But if your car is lowered, guys, and I mean, even you've thrown iBox springs or an FMS spring or whatever, do not throw those shocks and struts in a lowered application. You need something that's kind of built and designed for it. So that's my 2 cents. I could talk about suspension all day.
I have no problem with. I've always. One of the first things I do is I'm usually trimming. Usually a coil. Off the back, a coil on a lowered spring already. So I'm usually a coil off of the back, and usually I run on my street coupe. So let's say a coil over on the front, and I prefer the spring setup on the back. That's just been what's worked for me, and that's what I like, and I have no problem with it. The unfortunate part is some people actually, sometimes trim the wrong end, whereas they'll start cutting the pigtail off, and then all of a sudden they'll see the spring popping out. And I've seen that occur. And so you know what? I don't have a problem with it. I trim them. I set my pigtails. I usually set the pigtails facing to the rear, line with the lower control arm, and that works for me. But
absolutely.
I think you have definitely more experience in the suspension department. I kind of, I would say I'm more of like an old school guy, Chris. I kind of like to stick to what I know and what works, and it's hard for me to go out of those areas sometimes, right?
No, absolutely, man. And I'm very much the same way in that sense. As much as that's the problem with coilovers, right? Like, people are always fascinated. Oh, you can adjust them. How many times do you see someone up there with their spanner wrenches adjusting their coilovers?
Yeah,
you don't. It's once you get your car at the height that you want, that's pretty much it, which you can achieve with a coil spring. Now, the advantage of a coilover is that if you need to change your coil and you need to change the struts and shocks, then you're kind of doing it all at once. So I get it. My OCD hates it because then all of a sudden you got a lower control arm that's looking like it should have a spring in it, and it doesn't. So, there's nothing wrong with an old school spring and a really good quality adjustable. If anything, get the adjustability in your shocks and your struts. You want to go 20 yellows, you want to go with some Tokikos, you want to go with Strange, you want to go with any of those guys. At the end of the day, that is where a lot of your ride quality and everything is actually going to live. And people, I think, make that mistake far too often. They're just like, oh, I'm going to swap the springs and everything is going to be good. And that's probably the biggest error that you could make. So absolutely, springs and of anything, just figure out how stiff you want it. I actually have a link on my website that goes through all the aftermarket spring rates. So you can kind of get an idea of what you're getting out of the box. And then if you get what's out of the box and you decide to take more material off, it will tell you, you can do some math and figure it out. But Yeah, it's the other option too is the Racecraft drop spindle in the front.
Yeah.
I had those actually in the stocker vert originally.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a 2-inch drop spindle, which that means no changes in your suspension geometry. You're riding like factory, 2 inches lower, and that's that. Which they're pricey. That's the only thing. They're pricey, and technically they're off-road use only. That shouldn't be on the street, but that's sort of everybody's disclaimer these days because nobody wants lawsuits and all that good stuff. But I had that plus a lowering spring, which is kind of like what trucks do. When trucks want to go really low, they drop spindle plus a spring or a lowering control arm and a drop spindle. All these things so you don't change the suspension geometry. So those are options too for anybody concerned about bump steer or any of those things.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It just literally takes where your rotor mounts and moves it up, or your hub.
Yeah, for sure. And while we're on the suspension topic, I will not lower a car without the camber plates. Like the camber plates is an absolute must in my opinion. And following that is immediately right to the alignment shop. Like a proper alignment is huge. And I've had numerous friends go through tires and 1,000 kilometers and they're cupping huge, and I'm like, did you get your car aligned? It looks like you got some major toe drag there. And they're like, no. I'm like, come on, man. So
funny you should say that. So there's two parts of that I'll touch on. So the caster camber plates, part of me wants to argue, not because of the alignment, because of the alignment, but not because of the benefits that they can add. So the caster camber plate is almost like a shock extender for your strut, right?
Yeah.
So the reality is they should almost be marketed, or maybe I'm giving away some things that I personally want to work on, is actually just focusing on the extender portion of it. So that way you can maintain as much travel in your strut as possible, because the factory actually gives you a lot of movement in terms of all of your alignment stuff. And the problem nowadays is actually finding an alignment shop that wants to touch a car that's lowered. And, I know a lot of us have our backyard guys or our inside sources, but for anybody that might be watching this and curious, it's a challenge. And nobody these days wants to do any math. I question if they can do math these days, because they just want to plug in, whatever, Fox body Mustang. These are the specifications once they have it on the lasers and everything else. And, if you're really low or you're, to the point like myself, you need a little bit of camber in order to not rub. And you need to be set up to accommodate the fact that you've lowered everything. So you might not be within the green zone that that the machine is telling you. So, man, I started doing my own alignments. I got that quick trick alignment tool. And honestly, if yourself or anybody out there, that is the handiest tool. Like if you're, I guess, willing to do it yourself. I've done the measuring tape alignments for years for the reasons that I just spoke of. But that quick trick alignment tool, man, it's awesome. It's got the levels, you got your measurements, you got everything. And I've got cars driving so straight. That's and like you said, you need an alignment. If you change that suspension geometry, you don't want to burn tires. And even, if you're turning and your steering wheel doesn't want to come back naturally to you, you got a problem.
100%. I use a local guy in town. We give him a shout out, Kevin. Excuse me, canning steering specialist. He's a Fox body guy, so he understands the car. This is his living, man. Like, this is what he does all day. He's got state of the art, machines there, And I tell you, he runs. I tell him my specs. I tell him this is what I want to run. You know what I mean? And I personally, like you said, I like a little bit of negative camber, not too much. I usually run like a -1 camber, maybe a little bit more depending on the setup. But I like a lot of positive caster. That's just personally me. Like I usually run like a +3, +4 caster. I just like, for me, I like the way that feels. But he's excellent, and he'll do it. So he's not afraid to tiptoe out of that. You know, as you say that.
And you know, caster is something that isn't spoken enough about, in my opinion. People are always about, you know, how much camber do you have? How much is your toe in spec? People do not talk about caster. And I actually did a few videos of setting up some of the cars that I changed with the quick trick alignment tool. And I've been meaning, I want to do one video just focused on caster because it makes a difference. It's like your quad shocks. Run your quad, if they fit, run your quad shocks.
Or flip them if you need to.
Yeah, flip them. But yeah, absolutely. Just find a way to get them in there.
Yeah. Or another area is that toe drag. You know, that toe drag is huge. Toe in. If you're toed in or toe out, that can, if everything else is in spec and your toe in or toe out is out, you know, you're going to eat tires for breakfast like that as well, right? 100%. But all right, that's a great suspension chat, man. I think we could go on talking about that. There's a couple questions here for you, Chris, that I'll read out to you if you're not seeing them. It says, Chris, if you're going on a 500-kilometer trip, which Fox are you driving?
You know, probably my white Dutch coupe, man. That car, again, just because, you know, I was in my early 20s when I first built that car, and I took it and drove it everywhere. And since I bought it back, man, I literally drove and took it everywhere last year. Like, I think, like, based on the used vehicle package, the individual who I originally sold it to, I know he put some miles on it, but then the guy that he sold it to, who I ultimately bought it off of, and he put like 1,000 kilometers on it in 8 years or 9 years, like something insane. Like, and it was one of those things, because once I got it back, everything seemed tickety-boo. Then all of a sudden it was like, okay, I had a flex line that was leaking, you know, my timing cover, which it just seems to be the thing that leaks on everything nowadays, was leaking. Just all of these little things started coming out of the woodwork. So, you know, if you got a car that's a driver, keep driving the car, because letting it sit isn't going to do it any favors. And actually, that's my next thing, is to get the SRT 10 back on the road so that I can actually start circulating everything and getting it, because just starting it up and moving a little bit isn't going to do it any help for the long term. So it's kind
of a double-edged sword, eh? If you don't drive them, they break. If you do drive them the way we drive them, they break. Two Stangs Production had a question here. He said, I'm into the 93 feature cars. What's the progress on Project Lemon Drop?
Yeah, so that one's still at the body shop. I was hoping to make a little bit more headway on that. I left Canada pretty quick. There's some reasons behind that, which I'm sure that you guys over there can probably read between the lines of when I left and probably why I left. So the result is that I've kind of left it in the hands of my painter to get it completed. Now the question is, you know, with borders and traveling and everything, will I get to it this year, or will I maybe, once it's painted, get it and all its parts sent down here, and maybe I'll assemble it here? I don't know. So it's the next step. It's going to go in a rotisserie. Actually, my latest video of the car, I think there was another Fox that was on a rotisserie.
Right.
And everything was done red. And so that car is finally off, and the idea is to put my car on that. And I wasn't going to go that far, but I kind of went down the rabbit hole. It is a feature car. You know, it's you know what?
These rabbit holes are dangerous, man. These rabbit holes.
They are, and you have to have hard stops. It's sort of like the Dutch number 5 car. You know what I mean? Like ultimately, I could have gone a little bit further with it, sent it and had it dipped, because honestly, and for people that don't understand rust and where it gets to and what it can do, ultimately, unless you strip everything down and you get that car dipped and then you seal it all up, that's really all you can do, because even sandblasting, you can't get in all the areas where there could be corrosion and some other rot. So, you know, Lemon Drop is no exception to that. You know, the frame rails were actually worse than I thought they were going to be. So, you know, those all need to get cut out and welded up. And, you know, it's, I'm excited because I love yellow and I love yellow verts. So I want to get it done. Just the question is where ultimately will it get done?
Yeah. You've sort of answered this question. So from BBQ Mike here, he says, what's your favorite suspension setup and whose product? I think you've kind of covered it, but go
every
ahead.
car I have is different, right? So it's sort of like depending on the car and what I'm going for. And I like this Simcoe County.
Yeah, Alex, he knows a little bit about rust. He's doing
no, absolutely. We go back and forth, and you know, it's some people would be like 2 coils, you know, and then start looking at you funny. But I respect that, and I'm, you know, if you're 2 or more coils, then yeah, you got my attention.
You're deep, 2 coils.
Yeah.
Deep, man.
So, yeah, honestly, it depends on the car and what you're going for. Like I said, it can be different in every case. It just depends on how often are you driving, how comfortable do you want it to be, what kind of stance are you trying to achieve, and you know, go from there. I'm kind of agnostic. I like to try out all products, and you know, I feel like every suspension company out there has a time and place. Like even, and you might remember this, Paul. Do you remember a JMX spring?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, like that was your or a drop zone. 2 completely, absolutely cheap coil springs. And you cannot, honestly, to take a spring and just stuff it in and drive. Both those companies love the springs, like value for money. And I think that's where, you know, I love seeing how you can, you know, save money but still get a really good outcome. You know, it's the same thing with a Raceland coilover. Like, look at how much you're spending on those. They offer you a lifetime warranty. Like, who else does that on something that will get you as low as, well, look at the Stalker Vert. Like, how much lower do you want to go before your exhaust is on the ground and they're still going to warranty that coilover? You know what I mean? So
I totally hear you, man. I totally hear you. Our Cobra, I know it's not a Fox body, but our Cobra, I think my exhaust, that thing scrapes everywhere. Everywhere. I think I might have probably the same boat as you, and it's not as low as it's definitely not as low as your Stalker Vert there, but I think I might have 2 inches at the most.
Yeah.
At the most. I got to take everything on an angle. I'm doing angle cuts right, left, and center.
Yeah, she's low.
You know what I mean? Even if I see like a little whoop in the road, I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Sparks fly. You know, I can actually see my, you know, the collectors, the flat spots smoothened out from from grinding, right? But yeah, Alex there, Simcoe County Gearhead there. He knows a little bit about rust. He's doing a major some major rust repair on his car, so good for him.
Yeah, he's inspiring me to get at my 88 T-top as well, because Oh, wow. Look at this. 315s and a 10.5. We'll talk about that in a sec.
Thanks for the super chat there, Jesus. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So,
Keep
yeah,
going.
man, he's been hustling hard at that car.
He has.
Again, a lot of progress in a short amount of time. I know he's got his day job as well. So, kudos to him. And man, I love that he picked up some ROH ZR6 wheels. And they look badass, man. Like I think, and that'd be another conversation that could probably take up a whole stream. It is just the whole wheel and tire thing, man. And here's one for you. I have to say this.
Okay.
A lot of people, because let's just take a 245 45 17. Very common tire. A lot of people get them on their aftermarket wheels and they say, oh, I rub. The answer, lower your car more. So these people are so obsessed with the 91 through 93 fenders because there's more room.
More space. Right.
So they said. The reality is that, and it's because the pony wheel came out. So now we had, our 15-inch 10 holes turbines, whatever. Now we have a 16, which is massive back in the day. So the reality is that extra bit of room only exists, right kind of where the fender extension comes off. And what happens is that at stock ride height, your wheel diameter is dead set right in the center of your wheel opening. And that's where kind of your widest point of the wheel is. So if you lower your car down more, you're actually going to get that wider part down in a wider opening, and then you add a little bit of camber, then all your problems are solved.
There you go.
Chris's solution. So if you're rubbing, just lower, hammer it down. I love it. Let's talk about this 315 on the 10.5-inch. Again, thanks for the super chat, Cheeses.
Awesome.
We really appreciate it. Not expected, but super appreciated. 315s on a 10.5-inch rim, a good idea? Oh boy, that's a
Look at Chris.
Well, they'll fit. You will get the tire on the rim, and that's really all that the question says. Now, are we going to fit that on a Fox body? Is the ultimate question, right? So
you're gonna
think the number one question is what brand of tire, because we know the Nittos run narrow. And that's why everybody wants the bragging rights. Oh, I got a 305 on my Fox. Well, you also put the narrowest 305 tire on your Fox. And the reality is, man, that car would have to be pretty high. It'd have to be high enough because you're going to end up, I don't care which offset wheel that you're running with that 315 on it. The car's going to have to be high enough so that, your rear quarter is not going to come down and hit it. And you could roll that fender all you want, but a solid axle isn't going to solve the problem. Like I have the Stalker Vert, I squeezed a 285 30-18 in the back. And let me tell you, that was more than beating and rolling the rear quarter. That was like, I pulled the rear quarter.
I've done that
to get that to fit. So can you get a 315 on there? Absolutely. Are you going to get it so that it looks right and doesn't look like a old school gasser sticking way out, or your rear quarter hitting it? That's a sacrifice. Or narrow your axle, do a mini tub. There you go. Problem solved.
I was just going to say, I have seen some guys, not many, some guys narrow the rear axle to squeeze that in, and with a lot of hammering on the inside wall, because obviously once you narrow in, then yes.
Yeah. So that's my biggest thing with the Celine car, which I am going to do some content on soon, is, I think I'm going to keep the mini tub. I don't need the 9-inch rear in it because, man, that everything is built and that's, designed for the track. The question is though, do I keep do I just get a narrowed 8.8? Because I actually want to build out the set of stern wheels that I have. I'm going to get them stepped up to 18-inch, and then maybe I can do like an 11-inch, wheel on the back with a crazy offset and some huge lip, and maybe accomplish it. Because I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to see once I get some footage of the underside of the car, because the people who did the mini tub actually did a really nice job. Is it worth trying to resurrect the rear frame rails and the spare tire well is really not that big of a deal. It comes down to the rear frame rails and putting all that stuff.
I would leave it, Chris. You're going to open up a lot of options for you. The wheel there, and for me, wheels and the size of the rubber. Like I don't have a big like big meats on my current red coupe, but I get a lot of messages. Hey, how big is that rear tire? How big is that rear tire? Well, it's only a 275. It's a 275 drag radial, but because the rim is a 15 by 12, it stretches it wide. So it makes it look fat. It makes it look fat. So up to you. I think it would be a lot of work for you to undo that mini tub, but of course, that's your challenge.
No, I think, to be honest, my idea initially, which I'll probably find a way to rationalize and justify it so that I can do what I want to do. Is to actually build a Celine/Dutch hybrid car.
Ooh,
so visually, right, it would be all Celine. And funny enough, Dutch used Celine body kits before they had their own. So even the number 5 car had a Celine kit on it, straight from Dutch, straight from the dealer. And was later, once Dutch did their own kit, the car came back and got the Dutch aero system put on. So I'm almost thinking, because I think I have enough Dutch parts in my inventory, between doing a Dutch brake setup, panhard bar, or maybe even the ASG, like the Watts Link setup in the back. It would be maybe not with the narrow diff, but I could do the grabbers. I could probably do a panhard bar. And just kind of bring all those elements into it, and then just find a way, different flares and stuff. Because, man, going down the Celine rabbit hole, if I was trying to make that car all original and proper again, just go out and buy one that's done. As expensive as they are, I'd still be better off just doing that.
For sure. I got a question from Tom here, War Admiral. Chris, do you know of any companies making a 1 to 1.5 inch cowl hood? I can only find a 2-inch and can't find a stock hood. So he's looking for a quality steel hood in a 1 to 1.5 inch.
I don't know this. I want to say there's a place actually in Ontario that offers a 1.5. And the individual who bought the Blue Brother, the Celine clone Sonic Blue coupe that I had, I swear that Suki.
I love Suki. Need a very big hammer for that 350.
Good night, disaster.
And you know what? I loved. I don't know if you guys seen it, but Brutal's video where he had like that lime green GT. Yes. And he literally had a baseball bat rolling the rear quarter. And I have to say it, Paul, if we all had your muscles
shut up.
to operate that roller, maybe, but hands down what Brutal said, and I could not feel any closer, in my opinion, as to you're always going to crack paint or chip paint. And you know what? I can do it with a hammer and a baseball bat and get it done in half the time, because my arm will fall off with that damn fender roller by the time I get them done.
It's a burn. It's definitely a burn. And I try to.
See, it was probably more about the workout than it was the result for you.
Well, I mean, I was just going to say, I kind of time those rollings around. Okay, when am I working arms and shoulders next? So I'll skip that body part if I'm going to be rolling to save, because it's taxing. I've done a lot of sets, and I can't do it any quicker than 3 hours, an hour and a half aside, right? And you got to start slow. And yes, you do chip the lip. I haven't cracked any paint on the rear quarters, knock on wood. It's not a fun job. I don't like doing that job. It's very stressful, especially if I'm trying to help out a friend or whatnot. I don't want to crack their own paint. If it's my car, I don't. I'll eat that. But for someone else, I don't like that. So it's very, very stressful. It's mentally taxing. It's more mentally taxing on me than physically. But you're right. It's a tough job, man, and that's why a lot of people don't do it. And I get all kinds of messages asking, "Hey, are you willing to do mine?" And I'm like, no.
Yeah, no, man. Like the factory paint cars, you usually can get away with less
They're
damage.
better. Yeah,
better. Anything aftermarket paint now, you just don't know how they were prepped, and unfortunately, where painters or body shops lack in is the prep and wheel wells, like all the corners and the edges. Like people need to take more time in there to get that surface scuff down so that paint sticks. 100%. And usually I do the razor blade thing, and I'll make a relief cut the way along the edge. So if something does happen, at least you're not backing a whole bunch off. But to go back to that steel hood comment, just reach out to me. I'll ask that guy and see where he got that steel one. With that said, I want to say the Cali Coupe has a 1.5 Cervini hood on it. And man, I got to say the quality of this particular one, it's straight, it lines up, it's fiberglass, but I know what he's saying is that, fiberglass usually 9 times out of 10 doesn't look anywhere as nice as steel. So it's I'm more than happy to look into that.
Cool.
Let me make sure we got. Good night, Sean. I saw that you were leaving. And Sabino, that was a funny story. I'm not sure what she was jealous about, but she's 11, right? So I have no idea.
What else?
Hopefully she didn't get in too much trouble.
I think that was it.
Sean said good night. Yeah.
Yep. Good night, Sean.
Was done. And then just want to make sure I'm not missing anything here.
Okay.
A9 GT, Warmal, body. Is there another question?
No, that's looks like that was it. Alex was just saying, I saw one of Alex's comment there. He said that he had a 2-inch steel hood that he had on one of the cars, but that was it. So I don't know, Chris, I still have more questions, but I definitely don't want to hold you up. So by all means,
you let us know when
us know when it's good for you. It's good for us, and
no, man, I'm good. I usually do the podcast with Gary on Thursday nights, but we usually don't start for another 30-45 minutes. So
okay, cool. We'll keep
so we're good, man. If you've got any questions,
did we have dinner? Did you already have dinner?
I juggle dinner when I need to. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, right?
Breakfast is. Yes, it is. You're right. So another thing that I love about your silver coupe there, and again, it's a very unique touch, and I'm sure a lot of people have commented, but I really like the blue hue in the headlights. Like it's very unique, that blue hue. But you have like a little color scheme going. The stock revert's got the nice little yellow fog lights kind of going. But I really like that blue hue. Where did you kind of get that from, or what inspired you to do that one?
So funny enough, I was in Sri Lanka just visiting when I was in the Middle East, because it was sort of, Sri Lanka's like the Caribbean getaway to Canadians, right? You're a 3-hour flight, super cheap. You go for a weekend, you have a good time. And I kid you not, like even delivery vans and a lot of just vehicles in general had these tinted blue headlights. And I didn't know if it was like an aftermarket thing, because Sri Lanka is sort of, you're out in East Asia, and, we're kind of used to some of the modifications that we would see, say, in the Taxi Cab and the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air intro video. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I didn't know if it was sort of like the Canadian Tire type mod to them, or if it came, or if they were factory or what.
Yeah.
So I really didn't care, because I was like, you know what? These actually look really cool. And that's where I got the idea from. And,
Wow.
I just, they're the LMR diamond clear headlights.
Yeah.
And, I scuffed them down with a Scotch pad. They were brand new. And then I just added some blue paint into the clear coat that was left over from something else that I was painting, and just sprayed them with that. And I think it was about 2 or 3 coats, and tinted. That's what you see.
That's wild, man.
That's
It's
awesome.
it looks really good, and it really makes the car. I mean, your car pops as it is.
It looks good on silver, right? I think it's that whole like ice blue
Yeah.
contradiction. Yeah, it's nice.
theme.
Nice,
Yeah.
baby.
You think you could get away with? Have you ever thought about, doing like a little bit of a hue on the tints to pick up? Have you ever thought about that?
Sorry, a hue on which?
On the tints. Just like a light blue, like hue on the tints. Have you ever seen those tints where you see like a little bit of color in them?
Oh yeah, actually, I've seen. Man, there was one guy. It was like a dark emerald green hatch, and he had a lot of what people would say were ricerish type mods. I think his name was like B-Man, because he had like the tow hook stuff and a big huge front splitter.
Right.
I personally like the car. Like, I could tell, and I appreciate everybody's cars, no matter what they do. The important thing is that they're modifying their cars.
Yeah.
So he had yellow tint on the on the green, and it actually looked pretty cool. Now
I have seen that car. I have seen that.
Yeah.
Car.
So driving with I guess that much yellow, I don't know if you'd always be like in night vision mode, but you would be interesting. And you know what? You might have sparked something, because I think I might have a car that I might be able to play around with that with, and see what happens.
I think that would. I've looked at, obviously, man, we're Fox Body guys. I've looked at your car 1,000 times, and I'm like, I just get these things in my head. I'm like, I wonder what his car would look like with just a slight little blue hue to it, just a little bit. And I think it would look deadly, because it would obviously pick up off the lights, but
yeah.
Yeah. You said that at the Fox Body meet.
Yeah, I know.
The wrap up.
We got a question here, Chris, from Jason Kaplanik. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Thanks for popping in the stream, by the way. He says, best way to replace the oil pan and pump engine out, or drop the K-frame while supporting the engine from the top? Thanks.
I guess the main question is, does the pan in this case really need to be replaced, or is it just the pump? So I did, and I have a video on this when I was chasing an oil pressure issue, and it was a huge kick in the nuts, because my oil pressure issue wasn't the pump, it was just a bad oil filter. But I did the pump in the car. I did not drop the K member. I did not pull the motor. I managed to actually drop the pan enough. I think I loosened off the motor, the motor mounts. Yeah. And then just jacked it up enough. I think I got away. There was something about the rack, and it didn't need to come all the way out, but I had to do something. But it wasn't actually as bad as I thought it would be in terms of having to change the pump. I would do that any day over pulling the whole motor or dropping the K member or whatever to do it. But if you need to change the pan, then yeah, you're going to be, I guess it's your path of least resistance. If you got a lift, then, doing stuff from the underside is easier. If you don't have a lift, then pulling stuff out might be your easiest bet.
Right on. And Suki is saying, night all, Chris, don't take up too much sun or you're going to turn brown like him.
Night, Suki.
Night, Suki.
Good night, Bama.
Later, Suki.
Speaking of some nice rides, he's got some really nice rides. And I know he's private about that, so we'll just keep it at that.
Night, Bama.
Night, Bama. What else? Was there a question? I thought there was a question up. Did you just roll up for a second? No, Bama left. Oh yeah, Tom War Admiral said, Chris, thank you. I will message you about the hood. I appreciate it. And I think that's about it. Suki said good night. Tim. Listen, hey, I can't. Hey, can I put solenoids on my headlight harness and only have to splice the front harness that is replaceable if wanted? Thanks. Can you see that comment there, Chris, on the screen?
I can. I'm trying to
decipher what he's trying to say. Yeah. Hey, I think that was a typo. Hey, can I put solenoids on my headlight harness and I only have to splice the front harness that is replaceable? Who was that? Tim, can you expand on that a little bit, please? Yeah. We'll come back to that. What else?
Yeah, I'm wondering if he's just trying to connect, if he can, if he just wants to replace the headlight harness and get it back to his starter solenoid or his main distribution point for the power. I think that might be what he's asking.
Okay. 89 GT is just piping in and he's saying you can lower the pump into the pan and remove pan. Yes, it's getting the oil pump shaft back on. That's a biatch, 100%. And Tom says, Paul, screw the tint. Let's bring street glow back. Oh, you remember those days?
Remember those? The street glow?
Man, it is coming back. And you know what?
Yeah.
Thankfully, LED, you might just, because remember those fluorescent tubes, like they had ballast. It was like running, your ceiling lights. And if you hit something, then boom, like that tube was gone. Or if your ballast died, it was a huge pain in the ass to be able to run street glow back in the day. I'm not going to lie. I actually had it on, I think one of my hatches. It was a 90 hatch back in probably 97 or 98. And it's now with LED, man, you can do pretty much anything that you want. And it seems to be making a comeback.
Yeah. I see him on bikes. I see him everywhere. Adam C, thanks for popping in. He's saying now the lifted truck industry is bringing the street glow.
I was just going to say, that's actually where I did see a lot of it was actually on the lifted trucks.
Yeah.
I see the trucks.
Bikes.
The trucks and the bikes, but where it's massive and where car audio is massive now is in the power sports scene with all the side-by-sides and off-road stuff, like especially down here, like the amount of money that people spend, let alone in just the modifications and lifting them up with portals and all those things. But lighting and audio is a huge thing. And I'm curious or thinking because, Fast and Furious kind of killed it for all of us. If you really think about it, it sort of seemed like all of a sudden the cops, we got tickets for everything. And I remember back in the day, I got headlight covers. I got blue headlights before HIDs were a thing. Window tint, stereo too loud, exhaust too loud, this, that, and the next thing, too low. They tried to give me a ticket for that and it didn't stick. But I feel like all these off-road, I guess, and power sports stuff, it's taking all of that stuff off-road where there is no police. So people can literally do whatever that they want out there. the music can be as loud, and they can modify things however they want to modify them, and they're not worried about safety per se, or any of those things. So it's just kind of like a free for all, which is sort of like how, and Paul, we're dating ourselves when I say this, but like how we remember it.
Yeah, I remember a friend of mine had a purple GT Vert, and he had some purple underglow. He was purpled right out.
Actually, the first time I actually even saw that, it wasn't even here. It was in California. When I was in California, I remember just being on the streets going, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
And then the following summer, it was here. I was like,
it spread like wildfire, though. Like it spread quick. It caught on quick, and then it died.
It was on a Ford Lightning that I liked. That's where I saw it the first time. Yeah, that was nice.
I still like that truck, by the way. You still have a Ford Lightning, right?
Yeah. So another buyback.
You locked up the motor locked up on you on that one, right?
I remember that video.
Yeah. So some more bad news. So I put a new motor in that was a fresh rebuild, and I was good. I did all my break-in miles, and I was just cruising along, and I was trying to get up to speed to get onto the toll road. I didn't even hit 5,000 RPM. I was making some boost, and all of a sudden, all I saw was smoke coming out of my exhaust, and the whole passenger side, because it's side exit exhaust, right? So that whole side of the bed was coated in oil. I came to a stop, and I could tell I was running on 7 cylinders. So I limped it home. Next morning, I fired the truck up just for 30 seconds, started off, and I was touching the long tubes to see which one wasn't firing. And of course, it was number 4, which is like the worst cylinder to try and get to the Lightning, because it's underneath all the AC lines and heater core and all that stuff. It's pretty much underneath the firewall. Man, I pulled the plug out, and it was coated in oil, and I put a compression tester in there. Man, it was 0. So I got in touch with the builder. He used to build a lot of motors. He was called like Mean Green Machines or something. He was like featured in 5.0 Mustang mags and everything else. He was one of the pioneers in terms of mod motor builds. And, he's been really good. He essentially said, send the motor over or send both your motors. And he's like, I'll fix it. It's on me. I'll figure out what it is. He thinks maybe I could have burnt up a valve, which is possible. So he's like, you might want to get a bore scope with a mirror on it and see if maybe it's just a valve. And you know what, though? Even trying to do the head in the truck on that side, you almost just want to pull the whole damn motor out. Like they're not fun motors to pull. I have to say, those 5.4s, I don't like them.
I'm with you. Well, that's what I have in the coupe. It's not a 5.4. It was a Cobra motor that's been punched out, but it's very costly to rebuild. You're not talking 1 cam. You're talking 4 cams.
Well, you got 4 cams. You got timing chains that are way longer. You got your tensioners. You got all of those things, moving parts that are all potential liabilities. Now, don't get me wrong. I got 170, I think 3,000 miles out of that original long block in my Lightning. And that truck literally went everywhere, literally everywhere.
Yeah, that's mine.
It was abused. So, in terms of reliability from that sense, I really can't complain. The new motor, that's a little bit of a kick in the balls, but I'll get over it. I'll get it right, because man, I love the truck. Those trucks, even when people see them now, they still think they're a newer truck, even though the truck's 22 years old now.
Yeah, I know. I still love it.
And like everything else, the prices. I've had a loose eyeball on one, but the ones that are coming up now, they're crazy prices. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to justify, right? But
Mhm.
I hear you, man. I hear you. So
Tom's gonna be he's on to his next little
Yeah.
mod there. Look.
Tom says the streak low thing just gave me a great idea. Haha, the rabbit hole.
Let's see it, Tom. Let's see what you're gonna do.
I think on that note, Chris, and to give you some time to, I guess, prep or regroup for your next venture with Gary. Tell him I said hi,
Yeah.
by the way.
Tell me
And
Will do.
tell him he should have came in here and had some beers with us, but that's okay.
It'll be nice to see each other hopefully in May.
Tell him. Are you going to Chocolate Fox, by the way, Chris? Or
I don't think I'm going to make that one. It's just too. Well, we know how the more northern shows are. You just never know what weather and all that stuff is going to do. I did see that the Foxtoberfest announcements have already come out, so I'm hoping that you guys are going to make the trip this time, because that is honestly, it's such an experience. I'd even just take a month off and do what I did. Go to Foxtoberfest. You can go to Florida, and then you can circle to Texas, and then go home.
I wish I had
Florida.
that.
I was gonna look at maybe going to the Keys. I was like, I think we need to go to the Keys.
Yeah.
Alex, good night. Thanks for
Alex.
popping in.
Night, Alex.
You're doing a great job on that car, Alex. Keep it going. And he's an ROH man through and through.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Thank you, Adam.
Chris, man, it's even though you haven't been able to see us, it's been a hoot, man.
Yeah.
I've had some great laughs over here, man. So thanks for joining us.
It's been awesome.
Hope you enjoyed being on here with us. Thanks to everybody that was in the stream.
All the great questions.
And let's keep in touch, and we'll go from there. And shout out to your channel. Chris's link is still pinned at the top, guys. So if you haven't visited his channel, go check him out.
And when I win the lottery, I'll send it over to you so you can build me a nice one.
Chris doesn't need the lottery. What
I am saying me when I win the lottery. I'm gonna be like, here, Chris, build me something.
Well, listen, guys, no, honestly, thanks so much. And, I know that we've been crossing paths and not connecting. And I wish, we would have had a little bit more time at that last show in, what was that, Mississauga, I think. But you know what? It was sort of like Foxtoberfest. I think everyone was so overwhelmed with the turnout and the amount of cars that just showed up. It was busy. So, again, feel free to reach out whenever. I'm hoping myself to get on some more live stream stuff. This has actually been a really good test. I think I'm good at uploading with my streaming, but the download thing is what's killing me. So, unfortunately, technology is what it is. But thanks again, guys, for having me on, and keep doing what you're doing. And it's been awesome. So thank you again.
It was our pleasure to have you with us. So thank you so much.
Right on, man. All right.
Sublime has a question.
So before we go here, Sublime Matt is asking, sorry I got here late. Does Chris, are you going to Ford Takeover?
I'm going to try and do it. We'll see if I can make it happen. You know what? It's tricky, right? Oh, geez. There's Gary.
Gary's lay off the booze, you lush.
Gary.
So, you get so caught up with stuff. It's hard to put that time aside, and I know I want to get to it's all going to be the later in the year stuff for sure. I'm going to do Foxtoberfest. I love to get over to SEMA. Whether I don't think I'll have a car in SEMA per se, but I like to get over there and do the networking and everything else. And then there's a lot of other shows. It's not always just Fox Body stuff, right? We got the Lone Star Roundup that's coming here in a few months, which is more reason for anybody to come to Texas and check out some of these awesome shows. But yeah, we'll see what the agenda does, and I'll try and get it to as many places as I can.
Yeah, same.
What's the best month to come to Texas?
Right now.
Yeah.
No, in reality, you're good. I would say from now until probably June, and then you would probably want to come like September through November, because like the summer is hot. Don't get me wrong, I love the summer. I love the heat.
Me too.
But if you don't have a problem with heat, you're good March till November.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
All right, brother. Well,
Check it
again,
out. Thank you so
for-
much.
thanks
Gary's
for
waiting
popping
for
in.
you.
Gary's
All right, thanks, guys.
Gary's waiting for you. He's busting your chops as you busted his chops when he was on. So
Yeah.
fair enough. But all right, Chris.
Thanks so much, Chris.
Have a great night, and yeah, hope you guys have a great, recording session for your podcast.
Yes.
All right.
Enjoy.
Thanks, guys.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Cheers.
All righty.
Take care. Bye-bye. All right, guys, we're going to call it. Just want to say thank you. Thanks to Chris, everybody that hung out with us. And that's it for tonight. For everyone that was coming in late, if you guys were wondering why we just had Chris there, it was just for technical issues. When we were both on a split screen, Chris kept freezing, but I guess it was actually Chris that kind of figured out if he went solo that he just, it worked better. So that's what we did. So anyways,
thanks
guys.
for sticking with us.
Yeah. Thanks for sticking with us. Chris was awesome. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. And that's it for tonight.
Have a good night, everybody.
All right.
Bye.
Take care, guys. Ciao.